There are three ways to add CSS to our HTML web page at the moment. And I'm going to choose only one of the three, but I would like to tell you about all of them first. One way is to add inline CSS. And what that means is basically coming in every HTML tag and add a style equal to quotation marks, and inside these quotation marks you describe the CSS rules that you want to apply, for example, for the main tag. And you can repeat the same process for image, headings, paragraph, and everything else. So that's one way to do it. You have to keep repeating styles for every tag. So that's one way. That's called the inline CSS. Might be useful if you want to make quick changes for one or two elements, or for maybe some other reasons that are beyond the scope of our project here. The second way you can add CSS to your project is somewhere in the head section, or even after, you can go ahead and create a style tag, open close style tag, and then in here you can call any HTML element that you want to style. So for example, if you want to make changes on the main, you can call your main up here, and then between curly braces, you can write, for example, what color you want the text, every text on the main to have. So for example, if you say everything inside my main tag should have a color red, if I save and show it to you, you will see that everything has changed to red. So that's the second way that you can add CSS to your HTML file. But what we are going to do is to go with the third method, which is going to basically keep our HTML file really tidy and neat and short. So we're not going to add the style tags on this page. Instead, what we are going to do is to put all of our CSS rules in a separate file, which we have already created. If you remember, we created style.css under the project folder, which is empty at the moment. Now, the reason we created that is to hold all of the CSS rules that we want to apply for this particular web page. Now, before we go ahead and put the code here and test it, you need to make sure that your style.css file is connected to your index.html to be able to apply all of those changes on the design. In order to connect your style.css inside the head section of your HTML file, you are going to link. So there is this link tag. You're going to link your CSS file. Now, link is a self-closing tag again. As you can see, some of them are self-closing, some of them you have opening and closing separately. Now, for the link tag, you can add multiple attributes, but the most important thing is what you want to link here. And what I want to write here at the beginning is href, which refers to the document that I want to link to this HTML document. So it's like a link. So you will see href in many other places in the future where you are going to link to an external resource or to another page on your website, for example. Now, what I want to do is to add href, the name of this style.css, because it's within the same folder. It's very simple. You just call this href is equal to style.css. As you can see, I start typing and VS Code just suggests, it says, do you want this file? It understands that we are going to link our style.css, since that's how you link it, using this link tag. And another thing you can add here, which is a good idea, is rel, or specifying what the relationship of the style.css is to the HTML, and in the case of a CSS file, it is going to be style sheet. Style sheet. Okay, so that's it for linking our CSS file. So this one line guarantees that whatever code, whatever instructions, rules I write inside a separate file, style.css, is going to be applied on the HTML elements of this page. So let's go ahead and test it. Before anything, make sure you save this page, and then let's head over to style.css, which is empty at the moment. And I want to test it similar to what I did previously with the second method of connecting the CSS. So let's go ahead and for example, let's say we just want to change the color of H1, heading 1 elements, whatever heading 1 we have on the page, we want to change those colors. The default color is black. We want to change it to purple, let's say. So first thing is to select those elements. So I say H1 to select all of the H1 elements available on my HTML page, which is connected to this CSS file. Open, close curly braces, and in between them, I will say color, which basically refers to the text color of the H1 elements. And we can pick any color. We can use color codes, or we can use some of the known colors to Visual Studio, and basically HTML understands purple, which comes with a particular type of purple. As you can see, the code is 800080. So you can see in front of the color purple over here, the color code. Now, this is a very particular kind of purple. You might want to go with a different one. I will show you how you can just get the color code and put it here. But for now, the purpose of this is just to test and see if this actually changes the color of H1. So let me go ahead and save my style.css over here too. I have saved my CSS file. I have saved my HTML file. I have linked the CSS file to the HTML file, and I have changed the color of my heading 1 to purple. And if you remember, my heading 1, H1, is only the one that says Lotus Flower Bakery. So that's the only line that should change color from black to purple now. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if it's actually the case. So I haven't refreshed my page yet, so you will see the colors from the previous test. If I refresh the page, you will see that, as you see, my H1 is purple. The rest of the text is black. So beautiful. Now, that's not what we wanted to do. The purpose of this was only to test and make sure that our CSS file is connected successfully to our HTML file. So now that we have that, we can put all of the CSS rules that we have in mind to design this whole page. Let's go step by step. So here is an idea. Now, again, remember, you might have a completely different design in mind. And what I'm going to show you now is something that I have in mind right now. And I might change it in the future. So from now on, it's just a matter of taste. It's just a matter of how you want to design things. And hopefully, as I'm showing you how I'm doing things, you find something useful and you can use them when you are designing your own web pages. So the first thing I want to do here is to play with this image, with the logo. And what I want to do is make this smaller, bring it to the center, and let's just start with that, okay? So I want to make it smaller. I want to bring it to the center. So I'll go to my Visual Studio Code. I remember the name of my HTML tag controlling the image is img for image. Now, if you have multiple images and you want to control only one of them, you can give it an ID to distinguish which image in particular you want to make changes on. Now, let's actually do that because we are going to have multiple images. So I'm going to give this image an ID. So I'm going to call this ID logo. That's the image of the logo. So from now on, if I want to refer to this particular image, I refer to its ID. And I don't need to worry about changing other images with these rules. So I just want to change this particular image. Okay, now note that previously I selected H1, which is going to change all of the H1s that I have in my document. So again, you might want to change everything. Or you might want to change one particular element. So one way to do that is using an ID. Okay, let's go here. I don't want to change my H1 color to purple. What I want to do is to select the ID for the image for the logo. You remember I named it ID, and the way you select IDs here is you put this pound sign and then you write the name of the ID. Sorry, not the word ID. The name of the ID was logo. So this is how I select the element that has ID equal to logo. So every element that has an ID equal to logo is going to follow the rules that I want to write here. So you remember I said I want to make it smaller. So remember that the image we worked with had a width of 500 pixels by a height of 500 pixels. And the width and height are going to stay proportional unless you force them to change. So what I mean by that is if you go ahead and change the width of the image, the height is automatically going to change unless you explicitly say that you want a different height. So what I want to do is to determine the width. I know the default is 500 pixels, but for this image, I want it to be, let's say, 100 pixels. So I just write 100 px, and don't forget to put the semicolon at the end of this line. That's just for the size. Let's go ahead and test and see if the size has changed. I will bring this page here, refresh the page, and there you go. So this is 100 by 100. If you think it's too small, we can make it a little bit larger. And let's go ahead and actually do that. Let's go with 200 pixels for now, because there is also some text. It's not just the logo, the image. There's some text inside it too. So I'll go with 200 pixels for now. And the second thing I wanted to do was to bring the logo to the center of the page. So that's the next part I want to do.